teachings given in this book, we shall reach the goal. That is the connection. Just like Sri Ramakrishna's language, Sri Ramakrishna is telling Naren, if you do as I say, you will also have the experience of what I am talking about. This is the language of all the rishis. We should make point very clear. No one is teaching anything new. These are all Sanatana teachings. That is why our Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma. No teacher comes and teaches anything new. It is the same old eternal principle which is being kept before all of us. I always say, Upanishads, that's the Gomukha. Everything starts from there. No teacher has ever spoken anything different from the Upanishads. Everyone's teaching is nothing but the Upanishads in some form or the other. That's all. All the teachers. And Upanishads have only one thing to tell you. What is your true nature? Come out of this hallucination. Come out of this imagination. Try to realize your own self. This is what is the main teaching of the Upanishads. The same thing was stressed by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Amazing teaching and the different ways which that was the greatest work that came out during his time, and afterwards also. I don't think any book can parallel Bhagavad Gita's glory. Amazing work. Then comes Shankaracharya, amazing teacher. His clarion call of Advaita Vedanta, the pure naked truth. Then comes Swami Vivekananda. So that's a great tradition. All the teachers are telling us the same great truth. So this Aparokshanubhuti is that which takes us to the climactic experience of moksha. And who can attain this? Sadbhihi. Sadbhi means those who are endowed with sadhana chatushtaya. They can succeed in having this great experience. Before I go ahead, just he had asked one question. I'll just shed just 2 minutes light on that and then I'll go ahead. I spoke about 6 pramanas, means of gaining knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi and Shabda. There's no time to go into the details of each and every pramana. That is not needed. Let us understand that in this, every other pramana apart from Shabda is indirect actually. It's all indirect only. In Shabda also you can make 2 categories. The Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means what? Verbal testimony. Words. Tell me, how did you gain knowledge about physics or chemistry or biology or any of these empirical sciences? You gain knowledge through words. The words which came from your teachers, from the books. From that you gained certain ideas, certain conceptions, which you got verified in the physical realm. Is it not? Yes. The Shabda Pramana. But this is also indirect. This is also not direct. But there is a second category of Shabda Pramana, which is Rishi Vakya. Rishi Vakya, Upanishads. Really, Shabda Pramana here in the spiritual context, it refers to Rishi Vakyas. The words of the Upanishads, the words of the great masters. Actually speaking, the only way, only I am stressing in double quotes, in bold, underlined, the only way to attain the knowledge of one's own true self is through Rishi Vakya. There is no other way available. There is no other way available. That's why we have to walk on the path shown by the rishis. There is no other way available to the human being to understand what the ultimate reality is apart from the words of the rishis. So that is when we talk about Shabda Pramana in the spiritual context, we should understand we are referring to Rishi Vakya, the words of the Shastras, Veda Vakya, Upanishad Vakya, Guru Vakya. That Shankaracharya will talk about it later when it comes to Shraddha. So it is only when the Guru says, the Guru is a person who is already established in that truth. And when he speaks about the truth, he is speaking about that truth from a certain plane of experiential consciousness. Again, I am repeating this point. When Shankaracharya is speaking, When Vivekananda is speaking, their words are not ordinary words, like my words or your words. Those are the words coming from a person whose consciousness is established in the supreme reality. It is only by following these words that I also can reach the same consciousness. There is no other way open to us, absolutely no other way. That is why we have to follow the words of the rishis, we have to follow the words of the Upanishads. That is why the Upanishadic mantras are so powerful, because these mantras are not ordinary words. These words carry limitless potency and power to awaken knowledge in us. They have got the potency to awaken jnana in the so-called ordinary people like you and me. When the Guru says, my child, Tattvamasi. After all, the ultimate teaching is this much only. और कोई teaching नहीं है, और क्या है? बाकी सब तो घुमा फिरा के हम लोग बस we are going round and round and round. ये करो, वो करो, ये करो, वो करो. The root teaching is only this much. My dear children, Tat Tvam Asi. But we don't understand this point. Now, when you explore this meaning of this 3-word sentence, Tat Tvam Asi, if you explore into it, you will land up in the supreme reality. There is no other way open to us. When you explore what is the meaning of Tat, when you explore what is the meaning of Tvam, and when you understand what is the meaning of Asi, you will land up in your own true self. You will discover your own true self. This is the only way open to us, according to our great Brahma Vidya Parampara. So, in those pramanas, all the pramanas are indirect. It is only the Shabda Pramana which can directly awaken the knowledge of the supreme reality in an appropriate listener. I am using the word appropriate, is very important. Adhikari. If you tell this Tattvamasi to an anadhikari, it doesn't make any difference. You have to have some preparedness. You have to have some yogyata, some eligibility. Unless we have that eligibility, you may listen to Tattvamasi, but nothing happens to us. So what is that yogyata? That is what is going to be discussed now in the next verse. That is what is sadhana chatushtaya. Now, we spoke about the sadhana chatushtaya. Sadhana chatushtaya means 4-fold certain characteristics or certain virtues which we are supposed to have in us, at least to some degree. You may not have it in 100%, but at least you should have in some degree these 4-fold factors. Which are these 4-fold factors? It is Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadamadi Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. These are the 4 factors which every spiritual aspirant has to have, at least to some measure. You may not have it 100%. No one starts the spiritual life with 100% Vairagya. It never happens. We may have Vairagya, say 15%. Doesn't matter. Let us start from there. But at least 15% Vairagya is expected. Even if that is not there, then it doesn't work. A person with no Vairagya at all, the spiritual life has not even started. Viveka and Vairagya are the 2 pillars of all spiritual practices, without which our spiritual life has not even taken off. So at least some modicum of these virtues are expected in anybody who wants to move ahead in this direction. Now the question is, how are we going to develop these sadhana chatushtaya? How are we going to cultivate these 4-fold factors? We want to develop Viveka, we want to develop Vairagya, we want to develop Shat Sampatti, and we want to develop Mumukshutvam. But how are we going to do that? कैसे हम इन सब चीज़ों को हमारे अंदर इसको बढ़ाएं? विवेक को कैसे बढ़ाएं? वैराग्य को कैसे बढ़ाएं? इसका क्या उपाय है? उपाय, next verse. So beautiful. Shankaracharya says, Swavarnashramadharmena tapasa haritoshanat sadhanam prabhavet punsam vairagyadi chatushtayam. वैराग्यादि चतुष्टयम, ये जो चार चीजें जो हैं, विवेक, वैराग्य, षट संपत्ति और मुमुक्षुत्वम, these fourfold characteristics which at least to some measure everyone should have. If at all we have to make progress in spiritual life, at least to some measure everyone should have. Otherwise, that's why, when we don't have these things, you can go on doing japam and everything, but nothing happens. You see, it's a very common question which devotees usually come and ask. Swamiji, we had our initiation 30 years back. I had initiation 40 years back. Now I have grown old. But all these years, 30, 40 years, I have been repeating the mantra, but nothing is happening. This is a common question which devotees come and ask. Why is this happening? Owing to the absence of viveka and vairagya. Without this viveka and vairagya, no matter what you do, you will not be progressing in spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna very beautifully says, Sri Ramakrishna gives a story, There were 4 drunkards. These drunkards, they are drunk, fully intoxicated, and now they want to cross the river. And they go to the river bank, and there is a boat there, and all the 4 drunkards, they very gladly they get into the boat, and now they want to cross the river. So it was evening. So evening they started rowing the boat. They started rowing the boat. The whole night they were rowing the boat. Morning, they found that the boat is there in the bank itself. What happened? The boat was anchored. This is exactly our predicament. We should understand this point. Absence of viveka and vairagya is like the boat which is anchored. Absence of viveka and vairagya means what? We are deeply attached to the world. This deep attachment to the things of the world is like anchored boat. आप वहां पर बंधे हो, आगे कैसे जाओगे? जब तक संसार से आप आसक्त हो, संसार के प्रति ऐसी आसक्ति है, तो भगवान के प्रति आपका प्रस्थान होगा कैसे? How is it possible that you move ahead towards God? It doesn't happen. This is the reason. As long as the boat is anchored, you keep on rowing it, it won't move 1 inch ahead. Without viveka and vairagya, no matter you may go to temple every day, you will do mechanically japam, you will do all these things, but the boat of spiritual life will not move 1 inch ahead. So viveka and vairagya is the very plank, the very platform. With viveka and vairagya, you do japam, you see what happens. You will begin to float in the heights of spiritual consciousness. It is bound to happen. It is only in the absence of viveka and vairagya that no matter what you do, we remain stuck up in a certain place. So here Shankaracharya is saying now, so this viveka and vairagya which is so important, how is that we are going to develop it? So he is saying, Swavarnashrama dharmena tapasa haritoshanat sadhanam prabhavet. This sadhana chatushtaya will come into our life. How? By Swavarnashrama dharmena. Here Swavarnashrama dharma means by leading a righteous life. Righteous life and performing all your duties depending upon the stage of life in which you are and depending upon the kind of work you are doing. Here varna, now varna doesn't mean caste. Let us not, we have a lot of misconception about this caste. This caste, the degenerated caste system which we find in so-called Hindu Samaj, it has got nothing to do with Hindu Dharma. It is all the creation of corrupt brains. The real thing is varna. The real vyavastha is varnashrama dharma of the Vedas. That has got nothing to do with the present caste system. So Hinduism has got nothing to do with the caste system which we find in the society today. This is the creation of all degraded, corrupt brains. nothing to do with the Vedic dharma. The original idea is of varnashrama dharma, and varna means a kind of occupation that you are into because of your certain tendencies and samskaras. Owing to your natural tendency, you take up a certain kind of a work. Somebody is good at making a pot, so he takes up the work of pottery. Somebody is good at tailoring, he will take up the work of, because of his samskaras, because of his guna. Guna means somebody is rajasic, means he may go into an army. Somebody who is very rajasic and very strong, he may go into army, he will become a soldier, he will be a kshatriya. So it's all depending upon one's guna, which guna is predominating in that personality, and his natural inclination and samskaras that decide into the going into what kind of work he will do. That is varna. So suppose if you are, say, you are a brahmana. So the duties of a brahmana, varna. Suppose somebody is a kshatriya, somebody is a vaishya, or somebody is a shudra. Let me tell you one thing, there is no superiority or inferiority in these things. This idea of superiority and inferiority, it's all man-made. According to the Vedas, they are all same. Depending upon one's qualities, one is into a certain kind of lifestyle, that's all. And in and through, Sve dharman, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, by performing your own dharma, depending upon your varna, you will be reaching the supreme reality. That is the great teaching of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So anyhow, so here Bhagavan Shankaracharya is saying, by doing the duty which you are supposed to do, if you are a householder, your householder's duty, and you do that duty, how? By pleasing the Lord, Haritoshana. As a householder, now you're all householders, you have got certain duties to perform. When you do those duties, how? Tapasa Haritoshana, 2 words. Tapas means what? By leading a restrained life at the physical and sensory level. The term tapas doesn't mean that you have to stand on one leg. Usually tapasya means we have all kinds of such ideas, standing on one leg, doing all kinds of gymnastics. No. Shankaracharya beautifully says, what is tapasya? Manasascha indriyanam aikagryam paramam tapaha. What is tapaha? The restraining of one's mind and the sense organs. That is what is tapasya. That means leading a very restrained life at the sensory and the mental level. This is meant for everybody. Householders or sannyasi, here there's nothing like householders and sannyasi. We are all human beings. This so-called separation which we make, the differentiation which we make, people often say, "Arey Swamiji, you can talk all these things. You are a sannyasi, but we are householders." These are all vain excuses. There is nothing like sannyasi and householder. We are all human beings. And as human beings, we are all endowed with the same capability to move ahead in the direction of self-realization. As human beings, we are all endowed with the same capability to discover our true nature. The only difference is that some people take it seriously, they utilize that capability. Many of us, we don't utilize that capability. But the capability, all of us have it in equal measure. So there's no excuse of saying that somebody is a sannyasi or somebody is a householder. No, we are human beings and Ishvara has given equal capability to all of us. Only we are not utilizing it. So when we begin to utilize these capabilities and lead a restrained life at the sensory plane and mental plane, and by offering all of our actions to Ishvara, Haritoshana, to please the Ishvara, when you do everything with Ishvararpana Buddhi, it is in and through this that what happens is sadhanam prabhavet punsam. This Chandana Chatushtaya will slowly come into our life. Viveka will come into our life. Vairagya will come into our life. This is how Viveka, Vairagya and the fourfold factors come into our life by leading a righteous life and performing our duties by offering everything at the feet of Ishvara, and by leading a restrained life at the sensory and mental plane. When we lead this kind of a life, you see, automatically Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumukshutvam, all these wonderful qualities will slowly come into our life. Then we become truly fit to go ahead on spiritual life. Without this, no matter what we do, in the name of religion, in the name of spirituality, we may do many things. But truly speaking, it is not going to bear fruit the way it should bear fruit. So that is what Shankaracharya is beautifully saying here. So in order to make the cultivation of the sadhana chatushtaya possible in our life, everybody has to lead a life which is righteous, in which we perform our duties pertaining to our stage. If you are a householder, you have to do that. If you are a student, unmarried, then the student's duty has to be performed. A married man, a married woman has got his or her duties to perform, and all these duties have to be performed as an offering to Ishvara and by practicing tapas. Tapas means a restrained life at the mental and the sensory plane. In this way, you see, slowly Viveka, Vairagya and all these things will come into our life. Now, beautiful definitions are coming now. Now slowly we are getting into the subject. Usually in our Vedantic books, when we talk about sadhana chatushtaya, it always starts with Viveka. Is it not? Those who have studied Vivek Chudamani, you might have noted. It first starts with Viveka. But here Shankaracharya first starts with Vairagya. Anyhow, so see the definition of Vairagya here. Now see, every point is very important. Unless we have at least some degree of this Vairagya which we are going to talk about here, at least some degree. We need not have the Vairagya of Sri Ramakrishna. We can't even expect that. And that is not needed also. Sri Ramakrishna, and not only Sri Ramakrishna, all these great people, Shankaracharya, they were all like 100% Vairagya. We may not be able to reach there, but at least some amount of it is required, without which we cannot progress in spiritual life. They are like the ideals and models. We are far away from it. Doesn't matter. But at least some amount of Vairagya is expected, without which no one can even progress 1 inch in spiritual life. It is not possible. So see that now this is the ideal benchmark. This definition is going to set a benchmark as far as Vairagya is concerned. We may be far away from it, doesn't matter. But this is the direction in which we have to grow. You understand? This is how we have to study this verse. This definition of Vairagya is given to us for us to understand how far away we are from that ideal state of Vairagya. You feel the gap and you try to fill the gap. Our teachers used to say always. All these definitions are given for what? You first feel the gap and then fill the gap. First you feel the gap. You first feel how far away we are from that ideal state of Vairagya, and then we have to strive to fill the gap. That is the beauty of it. So what is the ideal state of Vairagya? Shankaracharya says here, Brahmadisthavaranteshu Vairagyam Vishayeshvanu Yathaiva Kakavisthayam Vairagyam Tadhi Nirmalam. Vairagyam. Vairagyam, now I don't want to translate it. Let us take an illustration which Shankaracharya gives here. Let us try to understand what this phenomenon called Vairagyam is. See, he is presenting a beautiful picture. It's an illustration. Literally, it's like a painting. Something has been kept before you, and Shankaracharya is showing you, see, this is what is Vairagya. What is Vairagya? He is saying, Yathaiva Kakavishtayam. Kakavishtha. Kakavishtha means what? The leavings of a crow. The excreta of a crow. Now, what is the kind of feeling that comes to your mind or comes to your heart when you see the leavings of a crow? That is what is Vairagya. You see, he is not defining, he is presenting a picture. How do you define Vairagya? So he is painting a picture. You just walk on the street and you see the leavings of a crow. Tell me, will you be attracted towards it?
No.
See, this is Vairagya. You understand? Let me not use certain word called distaste, dispassion. We can use all these words, dispassion, distaste. But more powerful than that is this picturization. To understand what Vairagya is, you can use the word dispassion. Passion and dispassion. Okay, we all try to form some ideas about it. But the best way is this rishis. That's why, the words of rishis know how to present the ideas. So Shankaracharya is painting a picture. He is saying, you see, you're walking on a street and you come across the leavings of a crow. Now tell me, will you have even the slightest attraction towards it? Or you will have the opposite of that? In fact, if you're walking, you will try to go bypass it, is it not? You're not going to go close to it. You'll be going away from it. This is what is Vairagya. This spirit, now this is meant for what? Vishayeshu. Next important word is Vishayeshu, Vishaya. This kind of a feeling for all Vishaya Bhoga. Now we are touching upon a very important point, that is Bhoga. Bhoga literally means what? Enjoyment. Enjoyment of the different objects of senses. Indriya Vishaya Bhoga. Now this will be the attitude of this person for all Indriya Vishaya Bhoga. Means all those enjoyments coming through our sense organs. As I said, you see, presently we are understanding this world only through our 5 sense organs, is it not? Either you're seeing, or you're listening, or you're smelling, or you're tasting, or you're touching. And every jiva is enjoying all these 5 objects through the 5 sense organs. As long as, now, Shankaracharya is saying that, now for all these sensory objects of pleasures, this person will have this kind of a feeling. Which kind of a feeling? The kind of feeling that we have for leavings of a crow. Means absolutely no attraction towards it. You cannot have attraction. Now the question is, how is that we won't have any attraction for sensory pleasures? Now here comes next point actually, Viveka. Now what seems to be giving pleasure to us, actually it is the mother of all suffering. We don't understand this point. For that you need Viveka, you need a strong, insightful understanding. Every sensory, physical pleasure that we indulge in, it all ends up in what? It all ends up in dissatisfaction. Tell me, we all have spent 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. Tell me, all those sensory pleasures which we have gone through, everybody has gone through it. Where has it taken us? Your life is coming to an end. We are becoming old. The sense organs have become unfit for further enjoyment, but the heart is same old empty heart. It takes a lifetime, several lifetimes of experience for us to understand this point. There is absolutely no pleasure in any sensory enjoyment. Iha sansare sukhasya gandham matramapi nasti, Shankaracharya says, there is not one drop of pleasure or joy in the senses. It is all dukkham and dukkham and dukkham and dukkham alone. It takes several lifetimes for us to understand, because absence of viveka. So, once you understand this phenomenon, then all the so-called, so tempting, alluring, tempting, all these objects are so tempting, is it not? The world is crazy. And actually speaking, all these pleasures can be summed up in 2 words, according to the Vedas. According to the Vedas, which Sri Ramakrishna also repeats. Sri Ramakrishna and Vedas, it is the Vedic words. There are three kinds of kamanas. Putreshana, Vitteshana and Lokeshana. The Vedas talk about Putreshna is what is Kama. And then Vitteshana. Vitteshana is what is Kanchana. Which Sri Ramakrishna talks about Kama and Kanchana. These are all Vedic teachings, okay? Sri Ramakrishna is not telling anything new. These are all the teachings of the Vedas. Putreshana, Vitteshana and Lokeshana. It is Putreshana is what is referred to as Kama Bhoga. And then Vitteshana, that greed, that maddening greed for wealth, more wealth, more wealth, more wealth. Now, all these objects can be summed up in these two terms called Kama and Kanchana. Is it not the fact? This entire world is crazy for these two things. Is this not the fact? Tell me, where is it taking us? Are the people happy drowning themselves in Kama and Kanchana? Can the human soul become happy by drowning in Kama and Kanchana? In fact, this Kama and Kanchana is the mother of all evils in society. It is the mother of all evils in one's own individual life also. All the dukkham which we experience in life, it is only owing to our unrestrained indulgence in Kama and Kanchana. As long as we don't rise above this, now this for a Viveki, this Kama and Kanchana will be like what? Like Kakavishta. This is Vairagya. Why? Because he understands. He understands the poisonous nature of this two things called Kama and Kanchana. So it all boils down to understanding. It's not sentimental something. Sentimental Vairagya doesn't stand. It should be based upon profound, deep insight into human experiences. These are all human experiences. Every living creature is going through experiences through the body, senses and the mind. But we are investigating, where is it taking me? My life is coming to an end. My body is becoming old. My senses are becoming unfit for further enjoyment. And still the heart is empty. The old man, the old woman is sitting with an empty heart. Yet the hankering doesn't come to an end. Tadapina munchati asha pindam, tadapina munchati asha pindam. What beautiful Shankaracharya's immortal words. Dinamapi rajani sayam prata, shishira vasanto punarayata, kala kridati gacchati ayu, tadapina munchati asha vayu, bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja mudapati, samprapte sannihite marane, nahi rakshati dunkrim karane. So beautiful. Punarapi rajani, punarapi divasaha, punarapi pakshaha, punarapi masa, punarapi ayanam, punarapi varsham, tadapina munchati asha marsham, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam. This wheel of time is moving and we are drowned in all these physical pleasures. The day rolls into night, night into day, morning into evening, evening into morning, one day into another day, days into one paksha, two pakshas into 1 month, 1 month into 2 months, several months into 1 year, several years. In this way, the time is rolling. The wheel of time is rolling and we are drowned in all these things. Where is it taking us? Tadapina munchati asha marsham. Till the person has become old, the heart is empty. The time for the death has come. The death is standing at the door. He's saying, nahi rakshati dunkrim karne, nothing else. The rules of grammar is not going to save you, my dear child. You're busy memorizing the rules of grammar. Your rules of grammar is referring to, it's just a representation of everything. We are indulging in so many things. This is not going to save us. So what is going to save us from the situation is what? Bhaja Govindam. And Bhaja Govindam means what? Aparokshanubhuti. Know the truth. Bhaja Govindam literally means what? Know the truth. Know the truth. Know the truth. Bhaja Govindam. Govindam bhaja. Know Govindam. Know your own self. There is no other Govindam apart from your own self. Bhaja Govindam means what? Know yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself. This is the only thing which is going to save you, my dear children. Nothing else. Now, this is the spirit of Vairagya. If when you have Viveka and Vairagya, then all these objects of pleasures will be like what? Kakavishta. Your natural response to them will be, you will be going, I don't know. Wonderful thing. Beautiful. Those who want to go for it, let them go. No issues. But you will not, because you understand this is the cause of all our sufferings in life. It is absolutely foolishness to drown in these things, knowing that it is going to cause you pain and suffering in life. Is it not? If you know that this is the cause of all pain and suffering in your life, would you be indulging in it? Only a foolish man will do that. That is why Shankaracharya often uses the word moodha. Moodha is so favorite. He says, moodhamate, moodhamate. Oh, foolish children. Try to understand. It doesn't take us anywhere. Now, you want to see the demonstration? Vairagya's demonstration? Our hero. Is it not? Yes. Tell me, what does... Actually, you're all worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. What do you mean by worshipping Sri Ramakrishna? Is it simply doing some puja and all? Worshipping Sri Ramakrishna means all those qualities of Sri Ramakrishna should come into us. Otherwise, what is the meaning of worshipping this person? Upasana and puja is meant for what? All those qualities which this personality is embodying, that should come into our personality. Otherwise, what is the point in worshipping this person? And I'll tell you, Sri Ramakrishna has come. It's not Sri Ramakrishna, it is Parabrahman has come in this form only to demonstrate to the world what is Vairagya. Tell me, for Sri Ramakrishna is not Kama and Kanchana like Kakavistha? Any doubt what Shankaracharya, the word he is using here? For Sri Ramakrishna, Kama and Kanchana, is it not like Kakavistha? Yes. Do you find Sri Ramakrishna exhibiting even the slightest interest in any kind of sensory indulgence? For him, all sensory indulgences are like Kakavistha. Now see what Shankaracharya is talking about. You want to see the demonstration, you look into this life. Now, we may not be having that kind of vairagya in our life. Doesn't matter. But at least some amount should be there. At least we should start thinking in this line that this is the mother of all evils. Unless I rise above this disease of Kama and Kanchana, spiritual progress is never going to take place. It is impossible. That is the point. So see, this is what is vairagya here. So, Brahmadi Sthavaranteshu, what it refers to is all kinds of sensory enjoyments. Starting from Brahma down to Sthavara means this trees and plants. They are all jivas, you know. Now, these are all many of, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. These are all jivas. This tree is a jiva. And the highest being is Brahma. Brahma, I'm not referring to Brahman, but Brahma Vishnu Mahesh. Brahma is that state in creation from where the creation becomes manifold, where the unmanifest creation becomes manifested. That position, that state is what is referred to as Brahma. So Brahma is also a living entity just like I am existing. It has got its own lifespan. So it has got its own pleasures also. So starting from the so-called the pleasures of Brahma down to the pleasure of a tree, all these pleasures, they are all nothing but the mother of all evils. A person who has understood this point, he will be treating all sensory and physical pleasures as Kakavistha. That is the point. Now this is the ideal state. We are far, far, far away from it. Let us accept this point. But at least this is the line, this is the direction in which we have to grow. See, these rishis are giving us a direction, remember. Otherwise, what is the direction in which we are going to grow? If somebody asks, what is the disha? Disha क्या है? हम किस दिशा में आगे बढ़े? ये अगर प्रश्न अगर करें, तो दिशा ये है. जीवन में, हमारे जीवन में थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ये वैराग्य जो है आना चाहिए. और वो तभी आएगा जब हमारे अंदर यह विवेक होगा, जब हम जानेंगे कि ये सारे जो इंद्रिय भोग जितने भी हैं, ये सब हमारे जीवन में दुखों का, अनंत दुखों का कारण है. अनंत दुखों का कारण है. This we will understand. It takes a lifetime to understand this point. Then, if this is vairagya, this vairagya comes when you have viveka. What is viveka? He says, Nityamatma swarupam hi drishyam tad viparitagam evam yo nishchaya samyak viveko vastu nasavai. So what is Viveka? He says, Nityam Atma Swarupam Hi. There is one thing which is Nityam. Nityam means that which is unchanging. That is Atman. Atman alone is Nityam. And everything other than the Atman is all what? It is all Anityam. And they are all Drishyam. This is actually Drik Drishya Viveka here. Here Shankaracharya is referring to is Drik Drishya Viveka. Atman is the Drashta, and everything which we are seeing. Now, see, we have to apply this. Whatever is coming within the range of our sensory experiences, all the human forms, the so-called world, everything. Now, we are going to investigate into it. What is this thing called world? What is this thing called human beings? We are going to investigate. That is a beautiful investigation here. But whatever is seen, whatever is this Drishya Varga, this is all Anityam. Tell me, have we experienced in our life anything which is not changing? Anything? Have we ever, any one of us, experienced in our life anything which doesn't change? Whatever we are experiencing, it is all going away. You can remember, you can recollect all your childhood memories, the sweet old days, wonderful old sweet memories. You know, बचपन में मैं ऐसा था, वैसा था, यहाँ था, वहाँ था, सब कहाँ गया? वो लोग कहाँ गए हैं? आपके स्कूल में आपके जो टीचर्स पढ़ाते थे, जो उस वक्त 60-70 साल के थे, आज कहाँ गए हैं? है ना? Those teachers who had taught you when you were a small child, and those teachers were 60 years old, maybe 50 years old, where have they gone? At that time, you might have felt a great fascination for that teacher. Is it not? I'm just giving this one illustration. Everything is going away. You don't even attempt to hold on to anything. This is the biggest foolishness that we do. We want to grab and grab and grab and grab. The disease of grabbing, which is happening owing to delusion, moha, grabbing, grab. सब पकड़ना चाहते हैं हम, कुछ भी हम छोड़ना नहीं चाहते हैं. As long as you have this tendency to hold on to, what will you hold on to? Everything is going away. Even if you hold on to it, will pass away from within your fingers. You just can't stop anything. Can you? You won't be able to hold even your own body. It's a challenge. This is going away. Tell me, this is going away. This is a passing entity. And yes, we are so much fascinated and we are trying to cling to it. You can't. So, this is what the great rishis, they tell us, my dear children, know that here everything is anitya. Everything that we know is anitya. The knower alone is nitya. Who is this knower? Atman. And you are that. Now, that is the investigation. Now, we have to find out what this stuff called Atman is. This Atman is the only thing which doesn't change. Everything else keeps on changing. And we are now confusing this Atman with everything that is changing. This is the problem. Now, Viveka is what Shankaracharya says. Viveka is Nityam Atma Swarupam Hi. This Atman alone is Nityam. And Drishyam Tad Viparitagam. Whatever is seen, Drishyam, Drishya Varga is all Viparitagam, means opposite to the Atman. Means it is all anitya. Evam yo nishchaya samyak. Evam yo nishchaya. A person who has got a clear-cut understanding about this nitya, anitya, vastu, viveka. This is what is viveka, vastu na savai. This is what is samyak viveka. This is what is perfect viveka. A perfect distinction between what is changing and what is unchanging. Now we have Vivekananda. What a beautiful name it is. You know, there is one stotra on Vivekananda. Many of you may be knowing. Shashi Maharaj composed it. What is that? Anitya drishyeshu vivechya nityam tasmin samadhatah ihasmarilaya Viveka Vairagya Vishuddha Chittam Yoso Viveki Tamaham Namami. Is it not? This is how Vivekananda is described. What is Vivekananda? Anitya Drishyeshu Viviccha Nityam. Separating the Anitya from the Nitya. And then establishing your mind on the Nitya. Means again, see, everywhere Vairagya will be there. Because this Anitya is Kakavisthayam. This Anitya Drishya Varga is like Kakavishtha. Now see, any of these great teachers, they don't show any interest in this Anitya Drishya Varga. Look into their lives. All of them. आप जो भी नाम लिए, मीराबाई को ले लीजिए, किसी उनको क्या संसार के किसी चीज में कोई मोह है उनके अंदर? किसी भी संत महात्मा को ले लीजिए, सिर्फ रामकृष्ण की बात नहीं है ये हमारी परंपरा है. They are all the demonstrators of the great Vedic wisdom. In any of these great masters, do we find the slightest fascination for this changing world? You will not find. Not in one you will find. They all demonstrate that intense fascination for the unchanging alone. So, separating the unchanging from the changing and fixing the mind on the unchanging, then what happens? That person experiences limitless bliss. That is what is Vivekananda. Viveka is what? Anitya Drishyeshu Viviccha Nityam Tasmin Samadhata Ihasva Leelaya. Viveka Vairagya Vishuddha Chittam. ये होता कैसे है? विवेक और वैराग्य से सो, और वही विवेकानंद है. That is a beautiful. Yoso Viveki Tamaham Namami. I bow down to that great Viveki who separates the unreal from the real, who separates the changing from the unchanging, and fixes his mind on the unchanging and experiences limitless natural bliss, Anandam. He is Vivekananda. Now see, this is possible for all of us. Remember this point. When we learn to withdraw our mind from the changing dimension. Again, I am repeating this point. These are all practices. This is all we have to do. It is not the question of just doing some arti and all. That's all fine, good. Essential thing is that to rise above this attraction of this world and withdraw the mind into that Ishvara which is Atman. So this capability to withdraw the mind from the so-called changing dimension and fixing it on the unchanging to experience the natural, spontaneous, eternally existing Anandam is what is a true spiritual practice. That is what is Viveka. This clear-cut distinction between what is Nitya and what is Anitya. Then comes Shat Sampatti. Okay, we are studying this Sadhana Chatushtaya. We have seen what is Vairagya and what is Viveka. Then comes Shat Sampatti. It is a packet of 6 virtues, starting with Shama, then Dama, then Uparati, then Titiksha, then Shraddha and Samadhana. These are the 6 virtues. And Shankaracharya gives beautiful definitions. Now, what is this Shama? Shama literally means controlling of the mind, mental control. Control of the mind, man ka nigraha. So, Shankaracharya says, now how are you going to control the mind? Now, this is again, these are all universal problems, It's no joke. Everybody comes and talks, oh, mind restless hai, mind restless hai. मन बहुत चंचल है चंचल मन है, मन भागता ही रहता है. ध्यान करने बैठो तो भगवान को छोड़ करके बाकी सब आ जाते हैं वहाँ पर, है ना. भगवान ही दिखते नहीं है, बाकी सब आ जाते हैं. ये तो मन का स्वभाव ही ऐसा है. कैसे, क्यों मन ऐसा है? द मेन रीजन इज डिजायर्स. As long as you have desires, the mind can never be controlled. So see, what is the secret of mental control is absence of desires. See, these are all Rishi Vakyas, unmistakable. Unmistakable. Everybody, you can check it out. The more and more the mind becomes desireless, the mind will be always in peace. Anandam. All restlessness comes to an end. Focusing the mind on your Ishta will be easy. When the mind is desireless, focusing the mind on your Ishta will be just like this. Why we fail? Only because of desires. You see, that is a big definition here. Shankaracharya says, so beautiful. He says, Sadaiva vasana tyagaha shamo yamiti shabditaha nigraho bhaya vrittinam dama ityabhidhiyate. So what is shama? Sadaiva vasana tyagaha. So beautiful. See, in one few, that's the Shankaracharya style. He packs the huge wisdom in a few words. That is Shankaracharya's style. Sadaiva vasana tyagaha. Always giving up all vasanas, desires. As long as we have vasanas, vasanas means desires for the worldly things. As long as we have desires for the worldly things, your mind is not going to be controlled. So, sadaiva vasana tyagaha, shamo ayam iti shabdita. This is what is shama. This is what is mental control. See, now, if you have this question, how to control your mind, this is the answer to it. Giving up of desires of worldly kind. Why? Because the things of the world are like kakavishta. These are all connected factors. Achha, now, if you have the kakavishta attitude, then easily the mind can be desireless. But if you think, no, this is like a plum, this is like a cake, this is like a pudding. काकाविष्ठा नहीं, ये तो पुडिंग है. अगर आपकी ये दृष्टि होगी तब तो कभी भी अच्छा, काकाविष्ठा का उल्टा क्या हो सकता है? ये पुडिंग है, ये तो आइसक्रीम है, ये तो है ना. तब तो फिर उससे मन हटेगा क्या? ये दृष्टिकोण है, सच्चाई है. ये भोग की वासना है. So bhoga vasana is the main cause of all our sufferings, and that is how we are bound here. So how can the mind become vasana? How can the mind become free from desires unless you have the right kind of vairagya? Is it not? When you understand that these things, all the so-called pleasurable, tempting, alluring objects of the world, objects of pleasures, these are not objects of pleasures, they are all actually the sources of suffering in life. When you have this clear-cut understanding, automatically your mind will be desireless. And see, you practice it for 6 months and see for yourself. When the mind is desireless, you will see it will always be in Paramanandam, automatically. How far is God? We are creating distance. Remember this point. God is not far away. God is our very heartbeat. But why are we not experiencing it? Because of desires. It is because of desires that we are failing to experience God, which is, literally speaking, God is our own heartbeat. You can't separate God from your own self. That is what is Jiva Brahmaiva, Shankaracharya's clarion call. My dear children, you are not separate from Ishvara, you are one with it. Don't create distance. By having desires for worldly things, you are creating distance and gap between yourself and God. This is the point. So, become desireless. Somebody went and asked to Sri Sri Ma what to pray for. Somebody went and asked Sri Sri Ma, "Okay, Ma, what should we pray to God for?" She said, "Ma, amake nirvasan kureda." Is it not? Ma, make me nirvasana, vasana tyaga. Because when the mind becomes nirvasana, everything is attained. It is only because of samsaric vasanas we fail to understand the truth. That is the point. So this is what is shama, and then next point is dhamma. Dhamma means the control of the sense organs. Now, unless the mind is controlled, how can the sense organs be controlled? Our sense organs are very turbulent, is it not? Our sense organs are very turbulent. So what is the definition of control of sense organs? Shankaracharya says here, Nigraho bahya vrittinam dhamma iti abhidhiyate. This bahya vritti means the nature of the sense organs to always go outward. This outwardness of our sense organs. You see, our eyes always want to see things. Ears. Similarly, all our 10 sense organs, I'm not talking about now here sense organs means, no, here organs, all the 10 organs. You have to take all the 10 organs. We have 10 organs, no? 5 organs of senses, perception, and 5 organs of action. 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karma. See, it is a profound investigation into this wonderful machine. That is Vedanta. Vedanta is not God somewhere up there. It's a wonderful investigation into this is the amazing machine. This body is the most beautiful machine. But we should understand how to use it properly, intelligently. Often we are misusing this body. That is the biggest problem. And when we misuse this body, we are ruining our life. You should know how to utilize this machine. So this machine has got 10 organs, amazing organs. 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. 5 organs of perception: eyes, ears, nose, taste, tongue, touch. Perception. Through this we are perceiving. And then 5 organs of action: 2 hands, 2 feet, then, no, not brain, 2 hands, 2 feet, this, not tongue means vagindriya, speech, and our organ of evacuation and our sexual organ. These are the 5 organs of action through which everybody is functioning. It's a profound investigation into how this machine is functioning. We have 5 organs of action and 5 organs of perception. Now, how are these organs going to be under your control as long as you have desires? It is because of the desire in your mind that these organs are always externalized. Is it not? Our organs are always externalized. It is always looking outside. It is always running towards different objects. But now what is the control of the sense organ? Shankaracharya says, when you succeed in keeping your organs perfectly internalized, not externalized, you are just letting it be where it is, not disturbing it. It's a wonderful state. Organs are there, but it is not externalized. Rather, when you become spiritually very serious, your organs will be always internalized. That is a wonderful practice of meditation. In meditation, what happens? All your organs become internalized, is it not? For the time being, you're sitting quiet, all your 5 sense organs and all the 5 organs of action, they all become internalized. Your mind becomes internalized. You have turned away from the so-called outside Anitya Jagat, and you are focusing on that which is Nitya. So beautiful. This is what is control of the sense organs. By internalizing it and not letting it go outside. So beautiful. So let us stop here. It's 12:15. So we'll take up the remaining verses at 3 o'clock. No? We are meeting at 3 o'clock. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. That's it. We'll do one thing. Actually, I really don't know in 3 days' time.